kia ora koutou whānau. Welcome back to Big Hairy News, or Bright Hairy News as we like to call our Friday show. How are we doing, Magenta?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. Had a bit of a slow one this week. There was COVID in my household, so haven't been going anywhere I thankfully also haven't caught it, but just to make sure I've been keeping inside and not going
Good
out
on you.
playing bingo, which I am very sad about.
Aww.
No bingo this week. Next week.
That sucks. Next week,
How
for
about
sure.
you?
I've had a very, very busy week, actually. I got to meet some fun people. Went to the Labour finance budget thing on Wednesday, which was great. So I'll tell you guys all about that. And I've just been dressmaking. So I've spent a lot of very, very late nights playing with fabric and undoing and redoing things and getting very frustrated and getting instructions through phone calls and pictures and text messages from your mum trying to explain something to me and trying to understand what she's saying. So that's been tired. But I've given her the job of flowers, so she is all about flowers. I get an update every day about how her flowers are either growing or not growing. So,
she's actually growing them herself.
Yeah, she's going to take a bunch from her garden. She was really upset because all
Cute.
the roses were going, and then they all just died overnight because of the frosts, which finally kicked in. So
nice.
she's like, no, and then some of her other plants died, but she's fine. Flowers is not a big deal, but it's just her little thing to keep her busy.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, she wants to contribute, and we love that.
Yes, it's nice. Someone was asking, I've got about a month left, so it's busy.
Countdowns on, people.
Yes, so you're going to have a couple of Fridays with just Magenta, which will be fun. I'm sure things will be kept running, and
I'm sure you won't
shenanigans
implode the Friday show while you're gone.
It's fine. You can have 2 weeks of shenanigans.
Yeah, I'm sure. Sorry, I just saw Chewie OnlyFans. I don't know, mate. You probably have to pick that up with Chewie. I don't know. Although, actually, you know what? I could imagine Chewie doing some, lewd with a Chewbacca mask.
No, please don't put that thought in my head.
I think it's funny. I just find it purely funny, so I'm glad you hate it.
Yeah, I can see it working, but also it's just I didn't need that image in my head today. But
yeah, fair enough.
Before we get too excited, also hi chat. I hope you're having you've had a wonderful week, and you're going to have a wonderful weekend. And before we get into today's content, which will be a recap of what was going on here in Christchurch, the government being sued over their lack of climate action and reversal of a couple of policies, which I don't like that our government's getting sued because it's going to cost us money. But also, it's kind of nice to see something actually, even if nothing happens, it's just nice to... And the interesting thing is that the top articles on this are all international. So,
love that.
That is quite interesting indeed.
International failure, let's go.
Yay, we love being top of the news. Now we're getting sued. Yay, that's so good of us. But before we go into that, a huge thank you to our patrons who support us on patreon.com/bighairynews. Thanks for all the support you give us. You enable us to do things like get Pat and Chewie up to the awards last week, to not receive an award, but to experience someone else getting an award, and some pretty cool stuff that they showed. If you want to go and see what that was all about last Tuesday's episode, I believe, because it was a long weekend. Yes. You can go see what they got up to for that, and they had a nice Patreon meetup and an audience meetup, and that was very cool too. Hell yeah. Thanks to our Big Hairy Newses, and obviously get little updates and get to see the things like interviews before they go up onto the channel. So lots of little perks. But thanks to everyone who does super chats and all that sort of stuff too. All of it helps. Or if you would like to buy some merchandise, you can go to bhnshop.nz and get yourself some Nikki No Boats and Chewie Foos, some buffer gear. The Tino Rangatinatanga is now kind of a staple, which is great.
Right, I love that.
We got the BHN boys.
The boys.
Boys. And a bunch of ones have recently come up in the last year. It's just this year, isn't it? Fuck around, find out. We are the grassroots. Tax work less, tax wealth more. And stickers.
Love good stickers.
We love me. Oh, speaking of stickers. Stickers. Guess what I got?
Oh, nice.
I got locked out merchandise.
Hell yeah. Oh man, everyone's gonna be frothing over that.
Because I got to meet the one and only Craig Renney.
See Craig Renney in person. Oh, I'm jealous.
Yes,
I can't wait. Can't wait till it's my turn.
Your time will come. Your time will come.
I'm patient.
Yeah, I went along to the what do they call? Okay, it was the Labour's Budget 2025 thing. I wasn't sure what they called it, which was hosted by Duncan Webb, who is and I suppose Ruben Davidson as well, who are and I suppose what was her name? Tracy McClellan. So this is Tracy McClellan, who I didn't know much about, but now I do. List MP for the Port Hills, I believe, and Ruben Davidson, who is awesome. He is the Christchurch East MP. And he is keen to come on, which was pretty cool. He's the spokesperson for the creative arts and science. Oh. And he was saying that he was the one that introduced the incentives for the gaming sector. And I suppose the rebate, similar to the film industry one that they had done. So he's really cool. So keen to get him on. And obviously there's Megan there as well. And Barbara Edmonds, who is very cool. She saw me, and she gave me a big hug. She was very excited. Yeah. She's almost, I was telling Magenta, she's like two different people. She's got her serious side that we mostly see in the media, and even when she's on BHN, she still has that very serious persona. Even though she's like a little bit more relaxed and casual, but like in person, she's super bubbly. She just she was so excited. She's like, oh my God, it's nice to meet you in person. Give me a big hug and she's all smiley and bubbly, which is really cool. Yeah. So she's definitely a people person. And obviously Duncan Webb, who we've had on the show a few times as well. He's exactly as you would expect him to be.
Just a good old Kiwi bloke.
This is hilarious, right? He's wearing a shirt, a sweater vest, and a blazer. And then a swan dry.
I kind of love that. That's kind of iconic.
And it wasn't a cold room, so I don't know how he pulls it off.
He's like, I'm just doing it for the aesthetics, bro.
This is my look. This is what I wear.
I love that.
It's so funny. Yeah, he's super dad vibes. And then you've got the 3 youth MPs for the area as well.
Oh, that's awesome.
And they were pretty cool. They were cool.
Yeah,
cool
I've seen a few of the youth MPs in some of the posts recently getting amongst it, which is cool.
And there's a couple of more photos as well. Got Jenny Anderson was also there. She's not in the photos though. I think she stepped out quite early on, but didn't get to meet her, but she was also there, which is cool. There you go. It's got the wee stage. Barbara. Nice. Craig doing this.
Where's the money coming from? Pretty
much. That was him. And then they had their jobs, health, and homes. And then Craig did a fantastic presentation all about numbers. And he successfully made the room really depressed, followed by Barbara, who tried to lift our spirits.
Did she do it? Did she manage to?
Well, I don't know. Craig was Craig, as you'd imagine. Very, very numbers based. He's quite cynical of the government, obviously, and he's the same as what we see online, But it was Craig, the presentation of the numbers. Yeah. Barbara didn't have a presentation, but she was more so talking about the overall strategy, or like, sorry, not the strategy, the overall sort of messaging and the things that they're focusing on and why it's important to focus on these things, things like wasteful spending, like the ferries getting cancelled,
absolutely,
all that sort of stuff. But the general vibe was like, it was still kind of political speak a little bit. She did talk about her, like her upbringing and things like that, and her went through her sort of story, which it was so we got to know her a bit more, and it was, I don't know, it didn't have any substance yet. That's what I came away with.
Okay, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it was nothing that I came away with.
Yeah, not as much meat, kind of maybe just a little bones at the moment.
Yeah, a little bit bones. We're still growing the meat.
Okay, now that's just okay. Now I hate it.
It's backwards. But yeah, like I just kind of came away like, I like Barbara. I still don't really know what I came away with. But anyways, the two speeches, Craig's one and Barbara's one, are going to be part of Craig's podcast this week. Yes. So you guys can have a look. I don't know if the questions were recorded, but one of the questions that was fantastic came from a lady who was sitting behind me, quite an old lady. The general demographic in the room was like 40s, 50s, 60s and up.
Okay, yeah.
I would say even like 50s, 60s and up. It was pretty... it was fairly... I mean, it's Labour. It's the kind of demographic you'd expect, I guess. Mostly white, but it is Christchurch, to be fair. There was a very small group of sort of 18, 19, 20-ish, or sort of around that age. And then there was me and Tane.
Yes, I did see Tane saying...
Yeah, I have a photo. I'll grab that. I'll show you.
I mean...
That's true. That is true.
Have you not been to a Green Party one? No.
Well, for that demographic, it was interesting to see the response to taxes. But the lady who was sitting behind us, she asked a question. She must have been in her 80s at least, and she said that I assume she probably would have been in the 90s, 40s then-ish, 40s, 50s odd. During the Ruth Richardson budget. And she asked the question of, after the Ruth Richardson budget, which is basically the 2.0 of the Margaret Thatcher budget and the precursor to the Nicola Willis budget. Same austerity vibes. She was saying that, it should have been a shoo-in for Labour to win the election, and they didn't win it. And she was like, what's different this time? What is Labour going to do to win? Because it should be an easy win for you guys. And Barbara's response was unity. They didn't have unity back then, and that's why Labour lost, whereas this time around they have unity. Like, yeah, that's a similar message to what I've heard so far around things.
What do you mean by unity? I guess I don't... Where's the meat?
It's the same... I assume it's the same sort of... I don't know what the situation was back then. I'd have to look into it, but I assume it was the same thing as when Andrew Little... we kind of had that Phil Goff, Andrew Little time during Labour, and we had the same thing happen in National with all of their corruption scandals with Simon Bridges, that kind of era. I imagine it was something to do with that, whereas I do feel like we are going into this election with a really strong, cohesive Labour Party. Chippy thing aside, it feels like they're all pushing in the same direction. The messaging's quite similar. They've got some really solid people in there. So that was the general response. And then the other thing I took away from it was tax. So I don't know if it came from that question, but Barbara was saying there's three ways to for the government to make money, essentially, which is cutting, reprioritizing, which is just moving money around, essentially cutting things and putting it somewhere else, and revenue. And that's where she started to talk about capital and taxes and things like that. And she said, we're going into the next election. She said, we're going into the next election with a tax policy, with tax reform. That is going to be our thing. And she definitely said something along the lines of capital gains is one of those. I think was I'm not sure exactly what she said, but capital gains was heavily hinted at. Then Craig took over the podium and he said, as a member of the CTU, we did this big document, I think it was Aotearoa Today or something along those lines. They did a big thing, and they said that capital gains tax was one of the things that CTU was advocating for quite heavily. So, and the two of them, Barbara and Craig, work quite closely together, and seems to be that they're with Barbara's. Oh, that's what it was. Barbara was talking about that she used to work for IRD, right? And she's a tax accountant, or tax accountant of sorts. So I think her bringing it up was kind of also a thing of like, I used to work in tax department. I know the system. I know what's there. I know what we can do to fix it.
Yeah.
And there was something else. Now I think about it. No, it came to mind and now it's gone. Oh, it was something really good too.
Lawyer, by the way.
Oh, she was a lawyer. Ah, okay. She was a tax lawyer. Okay. I didn't realize she was a tax lawyer. There was something else. Damn it. It was something about what Barbara said. It was really good. I don't remember what it was. Never mind. So she did say some good stuff.
Yeah.
That's what it was. There was one thing. Well, it's on my brain. Otherwise, I will forget it. They were saying that. Oh, there was actually multiple things. Now I think about it, I'm going back in time. One of them was someone asked about the pay equity stuff, and it was one of the people that championed it and got a service medal, I think it was, for it. I'm not sure if it was the lady. It might have been the lady. If you know the lady I'm talking about that championed pay equity. She asked what Labour are going to do because she hasn't heard a confirmed, are you going to reverse it? And the general thing was that Labour ministers are talking to those guys that had claims, the 33 that had claims, and they're working with them so that it's when they get back in government, they can just continue on from where they left off, and they don't have to do all that work again. And they're doing it now so that when they get in, it's all ready to go and they can just action it and get those claims going. So that's really, really good. And that was definitely a promise, which if they backed on that, I'd be very disappointed.
Yeah.
It pissed off a lot of people.
Oh, yeah.
So they said they're doing the work now for that and they're getting that underway. And this other thing that I can think of is they don't want to do specific numbers because they don't see the books until they get into government. So they'd have to, they're going to crunch numbers and try and figure up a figure for just generally things. But they are limited on information because they don't have access to the books. So there was a bit of we're going to do our best to kind of navigate. Once we get the next budget out, we'll kind of have an idea of what's going on, but can't promise anything just yet. So good things and bad things. I generally left feeling like Barbara's really good. They all just seem like real genuine people, which was great. But I just had that feeling of chippy. I just had that feeling of I'm held him back a little bit. I don't know. So yeah.
No, I mean, that makes sense. And I think that's so I think some of the people in the chat got a little bit confused. Kind of what I meant by what does she mean in terms of unity. I was kind of wondering this definition was whether it was inside of Labour or if it was inside the coalition, because I think some people they don't seem united. But yeah, it makes sense that they feel more united as a Labour, but as a coalition partner, I don't know.
A lot to be desired there.
Hopefully someone kicks him up the ass soon enough.
Yeah. So that's the general roundup. I encourage you guys to watch when Pat gets around to putting I think he said tomorrow, but I haven't seen it in the back end, so not sure. But yeah, Craig's podcast will have both of those chats, and you can hopefully have a look for yourself. I don't know if the questions will be there, but if the questions are there, the questions are quite good. But yeah, it was just nice to see. I had a few people say hi, which was nice.
Yes.
But yeah, definitely, it was nice to see a room full of people that you wouldn't typically look at and go, yeah, it's a lefty. Like, that's definitely someone who's progressive and left. Like, not progressive, but, you know, like,
Yeah.
not progressive. Green's progressive, but, you know, does want good things
Not
for the people.
right of the centre, yeah.
Yeah. No, it was good. It was good.
Yeah.
It's nice to see.
No, and I mean, it sounds like, I think someone was saying here, if they're with that whole pay equity thing, they definitely got to make sure that they push that hard in terms of their messaging. I know I've also seen a lot of talk this week around maybe just in terms of them trying to be stronger with their messaging in general and kind of not necessarily explain to people why they should care about this thing. Explain to people why you guys are going to do the good thing. But it definitely sounds like it was a pretty decent all round, and like a few people have been saying, it's really good to see that there was young people, because some people were saying they assume Young Labour would have been in the crowd there.
So then that photo I showed you guys before, that's the 3 Young Labour.
Yeah, the youth MPs, but then you've also got Young Labour as well as. Yes, so you'll always have a youth division. Gotcha. You have like Young Act, which they had pretty much the same kind of controversies as the normal act. But yeah, you've got young versions of all of them.
Yeah. Yep. No, I know what you're talking about, yes. Not that I know of, not that I could see if there were those guys there. But yeah, no, it was good stuff. And there's a Greens one coming up in about a month's time too, so...
Yes, that's what Tanya said they're going to go. Yes. He's going to go to that one, so...
Yeah. So that'll be interesting to see what the vibe is there. Obviously, probably a bit younger.
Apparently, Barb got old Gary to pose in the Nikki No Boat shirt.
Yes, we also got a photo, but I also haven't seen that been posted. So I wonder if it's kind of like they're not sure about posting that sort of stuff. But
I mean, to be fair, a lot of the time they do that. They'll like maybe put it in stories, or they'll feed it out over the weeks and all that.
Yeah, they might be. Show you I think. Where is it? Where is it? Oh, okay, no, never mind. I'll find it later. Tanya and I did get a photo with our BHN merch, so got to represent.
Yeah. I love that.
Very cool. Yeah. Before we do our one and only super chat and do some memes. Someone did say, I can't find it now. Someone was saying that the only reason Labour is looking stable and united is because of Chippy's leadership, and I totally can understand that. From that point of view, Chippy's a great leader of people. He's the like managerial leader that Christopher Luxon wish he was. Like, he's the kind of guy that is united people together. He's got them all singing the same tune, but he's not completely hands off. And he's like, oh, I mean, they could just do what they... I mean, I assume he's not kind of like, oh, they could just say what they want sort of thing. Like, he feels that kind of stable leadership. Doesn't feel like right now like a prime minister leadership. Or he's not like a prime minister leader. You know what I mean? Like, that's the feeling I'm getting.
Type of setup.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Great leader of his team, maybe not great unifier of all of the teams. Like,
he's not the CEO. He's kind of like a team manager, I think is the best way to put it. That's the feeling I get right now. He's like leading his team. He's letting them do what they're really good at. But I don't feel like he's the guy that represents the company, you know? So.
No, yeah, I can see that.
That's the vibe I'm getting right now. So there's still time. There's still time, but
definitely reclaim himself for sure. I'm just being a dick.
It's like,
I mean, I'm being correct and accurate, but I'm also being a dick.
It's politics is a game, and sometimes you got to know what the game is and what you're playing, and
Mm.
what? Who would make a better? Would he make a better chief whip?
I don't know what that one's.
Don't know. That one went over my head. Yeah. All right. Memes. Oh wait, hang on. We
Memes.
did have one super
Yeah,
chat.
I was like,
I
are we
think it
going
was,
chat or memes first?
It was a late fee by Daniel McGuire. Thanks for your $2. Late fee. In my defense, I move to Auckland tomorrow. Go do that, bro.
Right.
Just this. You don't miss it if you're live. You can, or you watch
Sure.
us in the background.
They missed out on the chat technically, but yes.
True. I
I
but
mean,
I feel like you're going
although-
packing right now.
if he's procrastinating, then I mean, by all means, what a way to procrastinate, I guess.
What
or
would
at
you be
least
doing? You'd
put us
be
on in the background.
procrastinating. Procrastinating. He's procrastinating.
Careful. I was getting in the territory. Speaking of this is a very prophetic image that someone posted in the Discord. Just
It's always
in front of the
always a
Trump
goodie.
Towers, right?
Always a goodie.
Truth Social crashed from the traffic surge, and in doing so, accidentally created a hauntingly poignant image. No truths. Oh, when this user composes a truth or retruth, you will see it. So what? Liberals suddenly like Elon now? That's the neat part. They don't. And Elon going with the reliable, I knowingly hung out with and paid to get a pedophile elected strategy. It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him. Every argument be like, contain yourself to get the moral high ground. Behave like a raccoon trapped in a trash bag. And that is me. I feel that. Dad, I'm gay. Son, there were so many microplastics in my semen. I'm just thankful you weren't born a Barbie doll. Which is kind of terrifying when you think about how much microplastics are actually in every part of our body. It is terrifying. Don't think about it for too long. Imagining the end of V for Vendetta, but everyone is wearing Luigi hats as a symbol of the revolution. I noticed that this post went up 6 days after the Luigi incident. So this is not even a week after 100,000 people bought it in one day. Oh, and then billionaires won't create jobs if we tax them. Is a myth made up by billionaires, so we won't tax them. Are you listening, Labour? This is dill pickles, stale pale mail, compostable ball bag. I'm proper Chris. I do love the way they've edited that one. Batman reminding you that if you don't want your child to be gay, trans, etc., then just don't have kids. This isn't a Build-A-Bear. You don't get to pick and choose these things about your child. You aren't ready to be a parent if you aren't ready to love them unconditionally. Definitely a good reminder for the procreators out there. Why are trans people always so leftist? Trans people, they're murdered, illegal, on their own, given rights and healthcare. Crazy. I wonder why they... strange. This weekend in Scotland, a group of trans women protested topless. In order to be arrested for indecent exposure, their government would have to acknowledge that they are women. So, I love that idea. Protest with your titties out. And then, I haven't watched Andor yet, but we've been getting a lot of Andor memes, so I'm starting to think I probably should. And it just says, remember that part in Andor when all those reporters on Gorman made it sound like Gormans were violent and the Empire had to send in soldiers to stop things from getting out of hand, but in reality the soldiers wanted things to get out of hand? Crazy, huh? Definitely not going to be modeling anything in the real life. And another one to end on, if you watched Andor, you know what's going on in Los Angeles right now. So... we're getting some spicy. Yes,
We've
I
all
know,
been told.
Chewie. I know.
We've all been told.
It's on my list.
I tried, but I think it was after I watched too much Star Wars, so I had to come back to it. I will come back to it. Got to go through all the others. I'm currently on Apple, then I've got to go to Prime, and then I've got to go to unexpected
Right. Also,
death.
Chewie, I've been watching The Rookie because you also told me to watch that. So once I finish that, then I'll go to the next one. Oh, but I'm glad to see. Okay, I guess I gotta go now, guys.
Get out of here. Show's over. We're watching Andor. Andor watch party.
Yeah. Andor watch party with Chewie. Sounds great. Well,
Great
that's
stuff.
a fun way to go into our next story. Where are we going next?
We're getting sued. Well, not us. The country's getting sued.
Yeah, close enough. We pay them.
True. It's true. Our tax dollars are going to be spent on lawyer fees. Cool. Chloe, the goat, is going to explain to us why New Zealand is getting sued over our climate policies, and hopefully
the first leg.
These.
Government is now being sued because its climate plan is not worth the paper that it's written on. We called it out back in December 2023 when the Prime Minister told our parliaments that the government was not weakening action on climate change, when the government was actively weakening action on climate change. It was then and is still now a demonstrable lie, and the substance of that forms the first leg of this legal case. Meanwhile, the Luxon government's second emissions reduction plan relies on economically unfeasible, unproven technologies and plastering the country in boundaries. I asked the Prime Minister for assurances on this in Parliament as recently as just last week, and he lied again. This is the second leg of the legal case. The government spent almost 2 years downplaying it all, telling everyone, don't worry about it. Everything is fine, while they dismantle effective climate policies, platform pseudoscience on agricultural emissions, and give huge handouts to the fossil fuel industry. Most recently, $200 million in the budget in May. This government would be a joke if the consequences of its actions were not so bad and so serious. But it's important to remind ourselves that things do not have to be this way. That's why the Greens produced Te Ara Ana Mata, our plan, to show you how we can stop pollution at the source and rapidly reduce emissions 5 times faster than the government's so-called plan, while also reducing our cost of living and increasing our quality of life. New Zealanders deserve so much better than this government taking us for chumps. So I want to shout out to the lawyers who are taking this government to court to hold them accountable for attempting to pull the wool over our eyes and pouring oil, coal, and gas on the climate crisis fire.
Bars.
Yeah.
Straight bars.
Thanks, Chloe, for explaining this to us. I've got the... Yeah, so really interestingly, when I did a quick search on this, it's been picked up by international papers, and the top link was Al Jazeera and The Guardian, which is very interesting. So it's a global headline. The other thing I found really interesting is that, and I could be misremembering this, but they call our current government a right-wing coalition, which the right-wing coalition government. There's a thing in New Zealand media where we don't label our parties right and left. Is that correct? Because it shows bias if we did?
I mean, I think it's just because Kiwis also don't tend to like to use those terms just more generally.
But it's also kind of nice in an article just to see that blatantly just put on paper.
Oh yeah.
It's just nice because we just don't see that, and I get kind of why the media don't do it if it's a thing of like not wanting to show bias.
To be fair, when I think about it, they do like to use the term lefty when it's something that's pretty reasonable from the Greens, and they're getting absolutely reamed over it. So I guess we do like to use it when it's convenient.
Yeah, the policies, yes. So policies definitely get labelled progressive, liberal, that sort of thing. I definitely see that language when it comes to policies, but the parties themselves, unless someone else is saying it, it's like quoting, neoliberal ACT Party, that sort of thing. Unless it's someone saying it, typically it doesn't really pop up in our our journalism. Just something that I don't know, just something that popped out to me. I thought,
I hadn't quite thought about that before.
Yeah, interesting. So what's happening? So two groups representing hundreds of top environment lawyers are suing the New Zealand government over what they say is its dangerously inadequate plan to reduce emissions to net zero by 2050. It is the first time the country's emissions reduction plan has faced litigation, and the lawyers believe it is the first case globally that challenges the use of forestry to offset emissions. Lawyers for Climate Action NZ, an environmental law initiative who represent more than 300 lawyers, filed judicial review proceedings against the government in Wellington's High Court on Tuesday. The groups have provided The Guardian with the first access to the claim. Maybe that's why they're top of the Google charts. Which argues the government has abandoned dozens of tools to tackle emissions, failed to adequately consult the public, and too heavily relies on high-risk carbon capture strategies such as forestry. The government's plan was fundamentally unambitious and a dangerous regression for the country. As it stands, the government's emissions reduction plan will carry huge consequences for our country. We don't take this step lightly, but the plan needs to be challenged. The plan must be robust and transparent, in line with the country's chief climate law, the Climate Change Response Zero Carbon Amendment Act, she said. That was the executive director for the Lawyers for Climate Action NZ. In 2019, the Labour government passed that landmark climate legislation committing the nation to reducing its domestic carbon emissions to net zero by 2050 and meeting its commitments under the Paris Climate Accords. Governments are legally required to set an emissions reduction plan every 5 years, detailing how New Zealand will meet its greenhouse gas targets. Last little bit. The right-wing coalition government has committed to the 2050 net zero emissions target. Its first emissions reduction plan, released in December, shows New Zealand is on track to reach emission targets up until 2030, but will not meet the targets in 5 years after. The government said it will address those targets in 2030.
You better not fucking be here in 2030, to be honest.
The legal claim includes two primary challenges. The first argues the government tossed out dozens of credible climate policies, including the clean car discount and a gas transition plan, and did not adequately consult the public over the changes. The lawyers also claim that the government is relying on high-risk methods such as planting hundreds and thousands of hectares of introduced pine trees to offset emissions and capturing carbon underground, with few alternatives to fall back on if something goes wrong. Yeah, it gives you the general gist of what's going on there. And I highly recommend going and reading the full article on The Guardian. Thoughts, Magenta?
I mean, it's kind of nice to have some kind of, I guess, piece of evidence to go, hey guys, look, you fucking suck. Like, it's just been so frustrating because, like, people have been calling, like, I think there's a lot of talk around the fact that a lot of what was happening, even in just the first 100 days, was going to be essentially putting that at risk. So this is all, they did this knowingly. It's not like this Paris Accord is something brand new and they kind of just forgot about it because it's just kind of not really like that. It's a bit new. It's been there for a while. They knew it was there. They knew that these things were going to essentially not be good enough. And now they're going to get sued and we're going to have to probably pay for that process. So not only do they waste our money, but it's not really going to change the fact that the climate is still in danger and nothing's going to get done about it. All they're going to do is go through a suing process that doesn't kind of like, yes, it's great, but you know, like, it's one of those things of like, it doesn't unbreak the plate kind of vibes. It's good to hold them account and have something in this system to go, look, see, here is hard evidence that you have not been doing good governing. But it's also frustrating that the climate is going to have to pay harder because... And also, I like this point. I thought you can't lie in Parliament. So what are we doing to hold them account? We've literally got on record that he has lied, but there is nothing that we can do to reprimand him for that? Like, that seems like a system that's pretty fucking broken to me. Well, not broken. Okay, correction. It's not broken. It is working as exactly as it was designed to work. And it's bullshit that Chloe has to, and the thing is, I see so many of these videos from her. She's always like the Green Party in general are always pointing out so many different things for us to have a look at and to see how bad this government is, and yet there's nothing that we can tangibly do about it until we have our fucking voting time. And this is where it gets very frustrating, because how is it acceptable that we pay these people to actively harm us and our country? Like, I feel like you should be able to lock someone up for fucking treason, because this is going against the people and the earth. Fuck you. I'm very frustrated. And it's just depressing.
The other thing that I did say, which is kind of on the same lines when it comes to climate action, the government has moved to boost household solar power. So they've added in some incentives to help people get more out of their putting energy back into the grid, but not help people get under solar. So it's kind of benefiting those who already have solar or who have the money in order to put solar panels on their roofs, and then rewarding them more because they get money off their bills, which kind of gets them ahead even more. It's not helping people get onto the solar grid, or get it onto the what do you call it? Like they had before.
Landlords would probably benefit quite a lot from that. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but I mean, the people who can have all the houses will at least hopefully be incentivized to install these. But it would be better if they could make it more accessible, because I mean, we should have so much more of these types of systems being set up.
Yeah. Well, if they'd kept the incentive that they did have, I swear there was an incentive to put them on your housing. It was a rebate, I'm pretty damn sure. Or it was a government loan, if I remember, to help people get solar panels on their homes. But they've kind of, among other things, scrapped that because it was costing them. But it's all in the same thing. So yeah, interesting stuff.
I like this idea. 21 plus day suspension for lying? I mean, that seems only fair.
Seems about right. I'm being messaged.
See, your phone agrees with us.
All right, super chats. This is Komatata for $5 says, I'm writing a Substack on framing. Once people used to think cell phones, I don't know, sorry, it's just in 2 words and it confused me. It's used to think cell phones were considered niche and radical. Now they think they can't live without it. On that, I'll come back to it in a second. We don't need centrist policies. We need leftist policies with better marketing. Don't take the temperature, change it. I love that. I love that very much so. On cell phones, my partner just went on school camp, and all the kids had to put their phones into a box or whatever, and they got it at the end of camp, which is fair enough.
Oh, yeah, nice.
Do you know what the reason and what they all protested, why they had to have their phones?
Well, logically, I think for safety, so that they can contact their parents. But now I'm going to assume maybe no.
No, that's what I thought they would use, is but my granddad's sick and my parents might text me and
you're a stranger, and my mom said if a stranger ever comes into my tent late at night, I can text her. I'm sorry, but
I really hope this not happening on school camp. I said, well, would they protest if it's like, oh, I want to be able to take photos with my friends and stuff? Like, I kind of totally get that as an excuse. The reason was it was about one particular social media which kids are on, and it was about their Snapchat streak.
Oh, okay. You know what? I'm kind of coming back around.
No, you're not.
Okay, but like number go up is quite a. I do kind of understand it. But
It's clout, though. It's all it is. It's not actually like. It has no.
Okay. Counter proposition, as someone who currently has a snap streak with someone and will do anything to keep it right now, it actually just gives you this almost weird sense of like, wow, we're actually so much closer to each other, and this is a number that can actually represent how close and how like into wanting to talk to each other we are. So I can see it. It's like it's a social thing, it's nice to be able to say that's my best friend and I can prove it because we've messaged each other every day for this long. So
someone's getting onto the leaderboard thing. I did throw in the chat yesterday as well. I had a look into it. It's nothing to do with the channel itself. It's about every individual. So you have to, as an individual, if you don't want to see that and participate, you have to go into your settings and disable it. So I looked at our back end. We can't turn it off. It's something that YouTube has imposed on everyone. It's just those of you who've got access to it, you have to turn it off. So
that makes sense.
Yeah, have a look in your settings if you're getting annoyed by it. But I thought I'd let you know. Yes, lots of people are also saying the Snapchat streak is a thing for sure. I never got into it, but.
I mean, we can't get Mr. Harvest for $2, but I can't Snapchat David Seymour. I mean, I hope he doesn't have any snaps streaks of anyone. Oh,
very, very concerned.
I don't want to think about that, to be honest.
More important things on his plate, surely, like feeding children an appropriate meal at lunchtime. Not plastic. Or worms. It's the most recent that I saw.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
Delicious.
Yeah, larvae in your school lunch. Anyone?
Extra protein. Nice.
Still a thing. Still going.
Oh, yeah. I saw a lunch article today myself. Japanese lunches showing us up for absolute shame. No surprises there.
Oh, their whole lunch program is amazing. So well done.
We have a piece of news that Chewie sent us to make sure that we talk about. So do we want to talk about that before our Jacinda stuff? Because I'm excited to talk about her.
In our next round of memes.
In less meme funny haha, in really bad news, internet in Gaza has been cut off. So Israel has bombed the main fiber optic line in Gaza, causing a total communication blackout. No phones, no internet across North, South, and Central Gaza. Only residents with eSIMs are able to communicate with each other and outside the world. And this is this is an infographic that gives a bit of advice about, goes through a bit more about it. Here it says, all internet and fixed line communication services in the Gaza Strip have been cut off after the main fiber route in Gaza was targeted by the occupation. The Telecommunications Regulatory Authority announced an escalation in digital isolation in the Gaza Strip as a result of the system's targeting of communications infrastructure, despite numerous previous attempts to repair many of the long-severed and alternative routes. Families can't reach each other, journalists can't report, and the world can't hear their voices, which, as we all know, we've been having a genocide live streamed to our phones, and now we can't have that live stream. And while it's horrible, some of the things I know many of us have unfortunately seen during this genocide, at least we were able to see it. And this is where it's quite horrible and terrifying now to see the escalation continuing. But yes, so eSIMs, a digital SIM card that provides data access without needing a physical SIM, is the fastest way to reconnect people. So they're basically advising that they could get eSIMs. If you want any more of the information, I recommend going to We Are the Peace. We Are the Peace. Matt, see, New Zealanders don't pronounce stuff properly. It still didn't sound right. We're the Peace. There we go. Okay. And I can actually put the link to this in the chat as well, if you'd like to go through it and share it to people that you know who would benefit from hearing about this, because it's scary stuff happening there, obviously, and even scarier now that people can't report on the horrific atrocities going on in there. So not so great news on that front, but we've got to make sure that people know about it so that we can get eyes back on Gaza.
Absolutely. Got to keep it at the top of our minds. Can't let it slide. And other news in that area as well. Luna's okay. Was the threats of Iran retaliating recent attacks by Israel on them, if I'm not mistaken.
I vaguely heard about that today, actually.
Targeting their nuclear power plants, Iran's nuclear power plants specifically. And a lot of them in the region are quite concerned because of the fallout that could happen from, a bombed power plant, which
absolutely,
all the stuff that happens around that. It's not great. And then also the fact that the Iranians also have nuclear capabilities. So I don't know if it's confirmed, but generally that's something that we are all aware of in geopolitics, and the US trying to stop that from happening. All of that fun stuff. So lots happening in that region.
With everybody, aren't they?
Probably apparently, not a great one to pick a fight with, but
apparently the USA was asking Iran not to blame Israel. Jesus, what a simp! Disgusting simpery. Fucking hell. Oh, and apparently not power plants, enrichment facilities.
Thank you. Sorry. Incorrect.
Shout out to old Mr. Frodo. Love that name.
Thank you for correcting me. So not fun stuff happening.
No, not at all. And I guess there's no real better way to go. I'm like, how do we go into memes after that? I don't know. We just fucking have to, I guess.
Carry on.
Oh, feeling cute. Might patch this pothole later. I don't know. I kind of love this. Oh, I don't do culture war. Just class war for me, thanks. Some are posting on social media. Some are posting in the streets. Some are protesting in the streets. Some are donating silently. Some are educating themselves. Some are having tough conversations with friends and family. A revolution has many layers. Be kind to yourself and to others who are traveling in the same direction. Just keep your foot on the gas. I definitely think we need to remind ourselves of this. We've got to keep going, but we also can't wear ourselves out, Fano. After a 6-hour mushroom trip, after watching the news for 6 minutes, and I thought hopefully maybe old Gary might appreciate this meme. I thought it was quite good.
I feel like he would.
Yeah. Also, man, I would much rather be on shrooms. Touching grass isn't enough. I need bad things to happen to evil men in power. And this is my radical arc. We're all aware of this. The day is soon coming when good people must do radical things to very bad systems. Someone's got to do it. Colonizers will call the Aztec savages for their human sacrifices while practicing human sacrifice for their own gods. Yet the military industrial complex and the market. Yeah, it's same shit, just in more socially acceptable standards. It's just This one I thought was interesting because this is on the Auckland Football Club Facebook, which I don't know much about the Auckland Football Club, but apparently since your owner is a huge Donald Trump fan, your mascot should be an ICE agent who snatches random people from the crowd, never to be seen again. And it just made me more curious about Auckland Football Club. I don't like sports, but Now I want to know.
Yes, continue.
Reminder that every picture of Mount Rushmore is zoomed in on the faces to make them seem larger and takes away what an ugly blemish it is on the Lakota landscape. And I just thought this was a really good. I hadn't seen this before, and I'm like, yeah, that really puts it into perspective, doesn't it? Just ego.
It does look like there might be some erosion there though, and it's creeping up to those faces. So I hope there's a live stream of as they crumble down.
So good, actually.
Like that house in somewhere in America that was like, it was basically like because of climate change and erosion, the sea was coming in and bashing it, and it was just like teetering, and it just fell, and I was like, damn.
That.
Yep.
If following orders and obeying laws is your metric for morality, you have none. You are just outsourcing it to the state. Your ethics come from authority, not empathy, and that is dangerous and lazy, which I'd say I have to agree with. We're about 3 lines deep into the first they came for poem. It's not a very long poem, folks. Inside you are 2 bricks. Throw me at a cop. Use me to build a social service. Both are valid. I like to think our chat's a bit like that. Oh, and then we can leave it there.
Nice.
For now.
Nice.
All right, I just realized I need to get some bloody things up, don't I?
Yeah, you're gonna speak about the old Jacinda, who's been on a bit of a it's been on a bit of a promo podcast press tour spree. I've seen her pop up in my feed on so many of the podcasts that I subscribe to. Like the one I saw this week was Pod Save the World, I believe.
This is actually one we're going to be watching 2 clips from Pod Save the World.
Nice.
And the other is Oprah, which I'm sure heaps of people have been seeing clips from.
I haven't seen that many of them yet. I've been pretty bad actually. I've seen the thumbnails and I was like, I really need to put it on my watch list and I need to watch it.
Yeah. I think it was just because I knew I was going to do some stuff on the computer today to do with politics. I was like, you know what? We can listen to this while we look at the current government, which definitely I had to keep interrupting because I was like, man, what the hell is going on? This just makes me think of all these things our government's doing that is just so far from the beautiful, amazing place that we were at not that long ago. And obviously, I'm always down to see more of Jacinda's face because it is
just calming, positive.
It just reminds me of times.
Just a different era,
right?
Better times.
And the worst part is some of those better times were literally during a fucking pandemic. That's how bad this current government is. But
Someone just says not her, I'm out. So goodbye.
Okay,
we don't want you here. That's fine.
Yeah. So there was an interesting line here where he's talking about during the election, I believe. And there was a quote from Brooke Van Velden that gets brought up. And I don't actually know if I heard this quote at the time or I might have, and I've just...
Wait, these guys are bringing it up.
Yeah, these guys are bringing it up.
Oh my God.
I know. And because I don't know if I'd heard it and just forgotten it or what, but yeah, we'll let them go.
There's an article in the New Yorker that said the following: an opposition politician named Brooke Van Velden declared at a medical technology conference that Ardern's administration had put far too much emphasis on saving lives. Quote, when it came to COVID, we completely blew out what the value of life was, she said. I've never seen such a high value on life. Van Velden became a minister in the new government.
Have never seen such a high value on life, as if that is a fucking bad thing. I'm like, maybe I had seen it and I'd just forgotten it, but like that just took me back when I was listening. I just was shocked. I think she says something a little bit here after
in this article. That quote is so crazy on its face. But I want to sort of unpack the sentiment a bit and understand like maybe what you learned about what value people put on the lives of others versus their own personal freedom, and
Yeah.
how that impacted choices you had to make?
Yeah, and this is such an interesting question, because in policy making and in government policy, there are some areas where there will be called to put a number or a calculation on human life in that way. And when I think about, for instance, we have a scheme called ACC in New Zealand where you are compensated for injury or accidents, or in some cases loss of life. And so there are some areas of government policy that quantify these things. But the idea of doing that, the idea of saying, well, at this particular point, that investment, that trade-off means that, that we'll have this hit to our economy and that cost is too high, that seemed both crude to me, but also wrong. And I think the point that perhaps is being missed in her statement was that she's making a claim that there was a trade-off, when actually our view was a strong response to COVID was a strong health response was the best economic response.
Mm-hmm.
If we didn't respond to the fear that people had, people would self-exclude from the economy anyway.
Right.
And
Which I thought was a very fair point. And I think I think there's just a little bit more that she's about to go into that I thought was quite interesting. So if you want to say anything here, we can just pause, or I can just keep playing.
Keep going. Keep going.
All right, let's go.
so managing and trying to pursue the strategy we did, which was elimination of COVID, we felt did both. A similar experience I remember when we were working on mental health. It was a big focus for us as a government, and we were called upon to come up with a target for suicide reduction.
Oof.
And I remember really grappling with that, the idea that setting a target and somehow putting on display that you had a tolerance for something where we clearly had a role to play as government in the provision of mental health service. And so in the end, even though I knew it was unrealistic, we set our target as 0. Because why say you have a tolerance? And in many ways, I think we took a similar approach with COVID. If lives could be saved, we should be saving them.
Which I thought was just a really great point, because, I mean, to me, it's kind of like almost imagining the trolley problem. On one track, you've got the economy, and on the other track, you have the health and safety of 5.2 million people.
But that's the thing, is that we the government currently would say otherwise, but we managed to do both. That was what was so impressive to me, is that we came out with an economy. If it wasn't for this government, the numbers were looking so good. The interest rates were looking to go down even faster. The GDP was looking up. All the numbers were looking up, and Craig did a great little thing in his presentation about it. All the numbers were looking up, and then once the first budget, the second budget came out, and this government took over, those numbers, all those projections changed completely for the worse. So we actually came out of it with a bloody good economy, considering what had just happened. And we saved so many lives. And the shittiest thing is that if people had experienced what America experienced, the government would have been crucified. But because they didn't experience that, they didn't know what they were missing out on. That's not quite the way, but you know what I mean? Like, they didn't know how much better they had it, because they didn't have to experience what the rest of the world experienced through poor leadership. So
Yeah, it wasn't worth the risk, and I absolutely agree with her. I've also just realized that one of my timestamps has disappeared, and I might have to try and find, because
We
there's
love
another
that.
clip where they actually talk about the Russian disinformation, and the fact that I wasn't aware of the fact that near the end of the COVID lockdowns, New Zealand was one of the highest countries that was consuming Russian mis and disinformation through social media. Like, we were higher than America, which is just
Wow.
like, I didn't quite realize it was that bad. I mean, I think a lot of us kind of saw attitudes and rhetoric being kind of pushed up and boosted a lot higher, but I hadn't quite realized it was that bad. I'll see if we can
Really consistent on that, and there
no,
are
no, actually, how about we'll just go to another one, and if I can find that on the side, we'll have a look at the end. But I do have the Oprah stuff. Because obviously the Oprah podcast interview was quite long. It was an hour and 11 minutes, but I highly recommend going and listening to it. It was all extremely informative and just really good to kind of, we're getting a very personal look into, she's not really sugarcoating anything. She's being very vulnerable. And that's one thing that I think I really missed about her leadership, is that it's like that someone that's a genuinely real person that can be vulnerable. Like, I feel like Luxon has made attempts to kind of do a similar thing and humanize himself.
Yeah, like saying, I'm rich, I'm sorted.
Yeah.
Exactly. What I would say to you is, instead of just saying what he really thinks, you just say, well, what I would say to you is...
Or Nicola bringing her kids to the fucking budget announcement. Oh, mum's sorry.
The Elon bringing his kid to the White House effect.
Oh my god, I hadn't quite thought about it like that, but you're so right.
Don't attack me, I'm with my kids.
Yeah, you can't be mean to me.
Bodyguard is a child,
right?
Beast bodyguard is a child, sadly.
In this first part, they're kind of discussing conspiracy theories and the hate that started to kind of rise up during that part of our country's kind of embarrassing mini arc of our history
for the masses.
Yeah, I just don't understand how anyone could assume that I'm so cavalier about having a whole city and over 1 million people in lockdown. Of course, I think about it all the time. I have to take sleeping pills so I don't think about it all the time.
And then you get accused of, it's just a power play.
Yeah.
And just like that. So that is actually from footage from the documentary movie that's coming out called Prime Minister. And just looking at Jacinda like that, it was just, I mean, I had figured she must have had kind of a lot of days like that, but to actually see it captured, I was like, yeah, how the fuck can anyone say that this woman who was literally a mother and trying to look after a child and the country, like, it made me, kind of gave me goosebumps though. It made me feel sad just to see her like that. There's also I think
you're ego tripping, you're taking advantage of other people's lives, you're trying to ruin the economy on purpose. I mean, it's
and so the only thing that you can, it took me a while to get to this, but the only thing that you can hold on to in those moments is that what your motivation is. You know that you're just trying to make the right decisions. And even I remember my hardest moments looking out when we did have an occupation on Parliament's grounds and thinking, well, they think they're protecting people's lives too. And so do I. We actually want for the same things. We have just come at it from completely different corners. And I do spend a lot of time reflecting on it, but I still give myself as much grace as I can that we were motivated by the right things, and that was to save people's lives.
Which I mean, she puts it perfectly, And in a lot of what I've been watching so far, she really does talk about and identify the fact that, some of the things they did might not have been the best at certain times. Obviously, how the fuck do you perfectly navigate your way through a global crisis like that? It's silly to think that anyone really could be kind of prepared for that.
Not a job I wish on anyone, that's for sure.
Oh, fuck no.
Not actually, a situation I would put on anyone.
She did actually say in one of the things I was watching that she pitched for the name of the movie to be called Run. Like, as in, she's like, got to run. But they're like, they might send the wrong ideas. But I just thought that was so funny of her. But in this next part, they're talking about who she looks up to in terms of her, I guess, heroes in leadership.
So an Antarctic explorer, who actually failed multiple times.
He didn't get there.
He did not get there.
But he saved his men.
He saved his men, and he had such a humility in his leadership as well. And he had the saying that I love.
We're talking about Ernest Shackleton, the explorer who led expeditions to the Antarctic, who is a hero of yours and of mine too.
Yeah.
And you have a mug with one of his quotes. What does it say?
It says, "Optimism is true moral courage." And I think there are so many reasons that resonates with me. And one is that I think we treat hope and optimism often as if they're naive. And yet the way that he talks about optimism is that actually it's a courageous act and it's a deliberate decision. And in the circumstances that he was in, and when he's quoting lines like this, he was basically stranded in Antarctica with no hope of rescue, a sunken ship. And
you just knew those men were going to die.
Oh, yeah. Well, and yet in that moment, what a courageous act it is to be optimistic.
Yeah.
And without that, you know, it would have impacted, I think, their survival. It would have.
Yeah.
And so
at another time, you all can read that story. It's a great story.
Well, yeah, I mean, I just thought, like, what a great thing to kind of point to in the fact that, you know, she was in an insurmountable position, but she took on a lot and tried to give us hope and be like, look, we can do this. We just have to work together. You know, I know none of us like this, but like, guys, come on, if we work together and just, I mean, there's one last little bit that where they talk about her, because this is all of them talking about how she kind of came to the decision to leave Parliament in general.
I mean, the point at which I made the decision was a good year after any of that, and there was nothing particularly occurring at the time.
That was what was so great about it.
Yeah, as a trigger.
Because it's not like she's stepping down because of COVID, or she's stepping down because it's too overwhelming, or she's stepping down.
No.
It's that
there was no moment, there was no thing, and in fact, I knew when I came to make the announcement that people would wonder, what is the one thing, and there was no one thing. In fact, sometimes
it wasn't one thing; it was everything.
It was a range of different trigger points, all of which, for me, pointed to: am I still the leader I believe I need to be in order to do this job well? So I felt like I was becoming a bit more defensive than I wanted to be.
Oh my God!
I felt like
takes a different kind of power.
You're muted. You're muted. You're muted.
Sorry. I was gonna say that's where I so agree with Oprah. Like, the ability to introspect and reflect and actually go, am I doing the right thing? Like, when she was saying this, I was like, yes, that is what any person in that situation should be doing. And then I realized, but I would never even imagine the current Prime Minister to do the same. In fact, I would probably gamble like my right hand that motherfucker wouldn't. Like, and just to see her talking about that, I think she's only got a little bit left here.
Do you know what it takes to have the level of self-awareness to say, I don't know if I still have it?
Yeah. I thought everyone ran through that in their mind from time to time. But certainly
people may run through it, but they keep going anyway.
Yeah,
they don't
which I just thought that was funny last little bit there. But yeah, I mean, that's it mostly. I highly recommend going and watching the entire thing of both of those podcasts. I mean, I'd have to scrub through it. It would take us way too long to find the bit. But yeah, she just talks a lot about, you know, the impacts of that Russian disinformation. But I also really like to see that, you know, she clearly understood, say, people who did the occupation at Parliament. She could understand where they were coming from. But doesn't mean that they were right. Also doesn't mean that she was wrong. But it's good to see her kind of just being really vulnerable, talking about all the different sides. And I'm really looking forward to watching the movie. So if anyone's wondering, it's only coming out in the US tomorrow. But
bastards.
The reason is because it's going to be a part of the New Zealand International Film Festival.
The New Zealand International?
I don't know.
The international.
One of them. I probably put a link somewhere. They've got a website too, which for the fucking my brain just forgot words.
The Sundance. Yep, I thought it was the big one.
Well, yeah, that's
the big one.
Thing. But they're doing there's one that they're doing in New Zealand though. So they're doing a film festival here.
As well.
I think next month. But so they'll release dates for I think it's going to be like Auckland, Christchurch, Wellington. Apparently people can apply to have to potentially do a screening. So I'm wondering if maybe we have some potential local meetups where we can potentially I don't know how to work that yet, but I reckon we should look into the logistics of that because I am so fucking keen. Although I'm also a pirate, so like if I have to do what I have to do, I will.
It was premiered at the Sundance in January in the US.
Sundance.
And then it's coming out to us here on the why is this buried? Fucking hell. Oh my god, okay, fine. Why is this so hard to find?
Let me just
coming out. When is it coming out?
Yeah, New Zealand International Film Festival. It was. Okay, I was right.
Okay.
Yeah, New Zealand International Film Festival. But I don't believe it's between the 31st of July and the 10th of September. And so that's when they'll have dates across the country, and also they do have the ability to potentially do screenings, so might do some looking into that, see what we can do, because I fucking would love to do a screening.
We might have friends in high places that could help us with this.
True. Oh yeah, true. Chippy, do something good for us.
Pat.
Chippy owes us.
I mean, Pat.
No, yeah, but Pat can tell Chippy that he owes us.
No, well, it's been Pat. It's got connections in media. I'm sure he knows someone who knows someone. So
surely, you might have to, pop a Pat about that one. But to be fair, I was loving watching her again, seeing her speak. I also watched, I believe it was her Yale graduation speech. Another phenomenal speech. I highly recommend going and listening to that one as well. I think there's also been a few interviews like Stephen Colbert, Seth Meyers.
She's loved by everyone except New Zealand.
Which is depressing.
How shit is that? You're hated by your own country, but everyone else loves you. Like, that's gotta suck.
It's not like new though. I mean, alien weaponry. Like, they're huge internationally, but they don't get anywhere near the other half. Yeah. It's pretty sad though, because like I've seen a lot of two Edmonds from Alien Weaponry. He's talked a lot on, how sad it can be sometimes when they see how much the rest of the world loves them for their Māoriness and for their reo, but it's only when they come home that it's got any kind of problem. Or even like, he's got facial moko. So, he's gone around the world and have people just be like, wow, that's so interesting. Like, tell me more. Whereas when he comes home, it's like a whole fucking problem. So, yeah, I mean, it is a downside that sometimes we can end up pushing away people that we really should keep around in this country that we could really fucking do with right about now.
Yep. For sure. Sad stuff. But I'm really glad to see that she's doing really well, and she's still loved by the rest of the world, and that someone made a doco during her time as Prime Minister, because that's some footage that you can never retrospectively get.
Oh yeah.
So, like, even in your own lives, you may not think you have an interesting life, but I've learned this over the last little while. Just film random things, take videos, take photos. Doesn't need to be posted on social media. Just take videos and photos, and one day
Yeah.
it might be something you can show or make something out of, or it might be really important footage for a documentary that you're not even part of. You're just like, oh, I have footage of this rare occasion.
Or you know, my morbid reason is people you love will die one day, and you're gonna want as many photos and like, I know that's morbid, but you're going to want as many photos and videos as you can of them, and we never know what's gonna happen tomorrow. Any one of us could get hit by a bus, knock on wood, I hope it doesn't, but like, take photos, and also secondly, be in photos and videos. Especially for our fat whānau or just insecure whānau. I know that the idea of being in photos triggers a lot of your insecurities, but one day someone who loves you is going to want to see that photo of you. So I know that you feel awkward about it, but just think about the fact that the person who loves you would kill to have more photos of you once you're gone. So try to give them as many as you can. That's just my little
sort of
insight.
on a similar train and a slightly more vain one is you're never prettier than you were yesterday. As I've gotten older, I've just looked at old photos of me and like, I thought I looked fat in that. Like, I was tiny.
mate.
And then as you age, you kind of just shift towards you just get older.
Yeah.
And
Mate.
sag. Things start to sag. And,
and
like,
just I think it's also, it makes you realize how much you let other people or silly little things get to you. You know, when I look back at
the vision of what you think you look like is sometimes
absolutely.
like 10 years later you go, oh, I didn't look the way I thought I looked. Yeah, that's quite interesting too.
I look more now like I thought, like I look now how I, like that was how I thought I looked back then. And it's like, nah, boo, you were always the skinniest you were ever gonna be. Stop trying, okay? Just stop it. Just love yourself. Like, it's not not that bad.
Yes, and take photos, because in 10 years time you can go, I was pretty.
Right. Or you can go, man,
Yeah,
I had a
look
really
at
bad
me.
haircut at that time. Or see some of my photos, like I change my hair a lot. There's some I look back and I go, that was not the color for me, actually. I don't think I'll go back to that one.
I'm glad I tried as many colors as I didn't actually try that many colors, but I tried bright pink accidentally and learnt that lesson pretty quick. That was horrendous.
I mean, yeah, you're a very fair-skinned person. I feel like it's giving like, oh, it'd be like Jeffree Star vibes, I imagine.
Very much. Yeah, just not a good
so.
color for my skin. I looked pale as hell.
Yeah, that look can stay in 2007, in my opinion.
If I could afford to get my roots done every like 6 odd weeks, I'd go back to turquoise. I loved it. It was the best color.
Oh, yeah, blue's hard.
But
though.
I have it's hard to keep. And also my roots are way too light. So when it goes through, it just looked really bad. Whereas pink, I can get away with.
Yeah, it blends in better. Yeah, like I've got way too light of a root color at the moment, as I'm sure we've all noticed. It's fine. I was trying out a new color. It didn't go well. It's whatever. It'll grow out. I can cover it later.
Just try stuff.
Yeah. It still keeps growing. You cut, like I highly recommend anybody who hasn't tried short hair, give it a go once. Don't have to go back if you don't like it. Just try it. Same with long hair. Give it a go. See how you like it.
I hate long hair. My hair's not even that long. It's probably the length of yours, and I hate it. I can't wait to get it cut. I'm only doing it so that I can curl it and shit without like ending up with like no hair. But like that's it. As soon as it's done, I'm chopping it back to what I'm used to.
Honestly, so fair. So I realized we've got a few chats in here that are piling
We do.
up.
We should probably get through them.
I want to just read out the one that I started because I saw this ages ago and it was such a mood. Just I accidentally deleted my message and now I see BF saying it again. That's a vibe, and I just needed us all to appreciate that comment. Now we can go to the super chats.
Legend for $5. There's a scene in the new John Wick. There's another John Wick, Jesus, where the protagonist is taught to lean into her strengths and not her weaknesses in combat labor. Should give it a watch. Watch party. Says the short tone. Says contact your MPs demanding sanctions on Israel.
And also call the Israeli embassy. Their number is online. I forgot to do that today. I should have done that today. But yes.
Another one along the same lines. Does Iran have the right to defend itself, or is that just Israel?
Facts. We know. It sucks.
This one is in response to another comment, and I'm confused. Oh, wait, hang on. Never mind. That's not the one I was thinking it was. It was another one. Polling in the 30% says something that the left does not want to hear.
Don't know what that means, but you do you, boo. Thanks for the $10.
I don't know. It's hard sometimes when the comments are out of context. Oh, this is the one I was talking about. In response to someone, it was more like 30 cents of the dollar. Current government makes it greater than $60. Same thing. I don't know what you're on about. Sorry. But thanks for $5.
Yeah, sure. Appreciate it.
Mr. Arvids for $2 said, I'd rather Chippy owe us by being a proper leader.
I mean, he said it. We just read it out. I also loved this one during our Jacinda corridor. Why choose when you can dismantle the trolley? That's fucking beautiful. Kiwi Verb out here with the beautiful lines. I guess we better do some more memes, eh?
Yeah, we're heading into 10:30. We should probably do the memes.
All right, let's get through our memes. All right, this is a bit of a long one, but just want people to realize that. So I'm sorry to say this, but if Labour is enough for you, then you're relatively privileged. For those of us extremely disabled, I mean housebound, relying on carers, we've had crumbs at most from Labour. They've never brought back 5-year renewals for SLP, sickness benefits, still make us drag ourselves to extremely stressful appointments and still have inhumane sanctions. So while it's great to be in the middle, for some people, the middle is not good enough. And sometimes we have to think about what some of the people in our lives might need, not just us. I loved this. So, hey, Bordylocks, you know what other lumpy, poisonous, malformed shite is also all about growth? Cancer. And then one of our Discord members just decided to play around with the picture for fun. I thought that was fun. Safety according to the Coalition of Chaos. Fine and responsible. Dangerous and threatening. No finger guns. This isn't a meme. This is just straight up facts. 74% fake followers for David Seymour. So takes one to know one, I guess. Also, I tried to add him on Snapchat and he didn't accept my friend requests. I'm obviously too old. We shouldn't care about Palestine and we should only care about our own backyard, is coup papa rhetoric. It allows colonialism to continue as long as it doesn't affect you directly, just like a coup papa. Work is detected. Brookfin Android activate. Sorry, your like reaction to it was so good.
Wait, on this. Okay, so the Jack Tame thing, right? My partner and I were watching. Oh, what's the meme? Like, honey, drop everything. Brooke Van Velden's on Q&A. It was basically that. It was like, drop everything. We're watching this. We were watching it, and the whole thing about like your party's whatever you call it, philosophy says no race-based policies, but you haven't scrapped the one the NZTA have. Not NZTA. The one that the forestry and there's one to keep Māori safe. Basically, they have a higher death rate, I believe, than non-Māori in that sector, in those dangerous sectors. And he said, but you haven't cancelled this policy. And then she's like, I don't know if you've seen it, but she basically goes like, oh, if they want to do that, that's fine. They can keep it. And he's like, that goes against your policy.
Yeah, like.
And we were just like watching the TV, like, Jack, shut up. Don't tell her. Don't tell. I just imagine the workers being like, fuck, she's gonna cancel it. Don't say anything else. Shut up, Jack.
That was, to be fair, I think the Brooke Van Velden like interview just kind of made me think of that. Stop kicking him. He's already dead. Because it was so bad. Oh, mainstream media, conservative, and corporate PR. Surprise. Paul Goldsmith, blame Labour, blame Putin. Hard times are here. Paul Goldsmith's been on some weird shit at the moment, to be fair. Got wanted, dead or alive. Someone crossed out there alive. Wasn't me. Oh, yeah. I'm in danger. Conservative logic. New Zealanders need to stop being sheep and fight the establishment. I bet. Not like that. Yeah, she's so based. Oh, Ems, you gotta look up. Ems.
Yay!
Yeah, Raijin made this one out of them calling into the show, and my God, isn't this just beautiful? Now, Keith.
I was editing the clips, and so I was like, "Oh, this is great." Put it in the Discord, and then Rajan's like, "Send it to me."
Target acquired. And then we have this beautiful piece of artwork. Draw me like one of your submission bots, which is, it's beautiful in the most horrific way. Like, look at it. Stare into its eyes. Thank you,
No.
Kiwi Bird, for this amazing, amazing creation that I will now use to harm people with psychic damage forevermore. And I can't wait to see what happens once you colorize it and I get to put this back in again. And then we got fun memes. Nobody will remember your salary, how busy you were, how many hours you worked. People will remember the Bring It On Toro's chair. I'm sexy, I'm cute, I'm popular to boot, I'm bitchin', great hair. And I bet you a bunch of people just finished that line in their head. I don't usually do the AI memes, but this is just good comedy. Limp brisket. Limp brisket.
It's weird. It's so weird.
It is weird. It's cursed, but I love a good pun. And then OnlyFans girls, Peter Parker, selling pictures of themselves for money. Those are my fun nothing memes for the week.
Do you want to see my meme of the week?
Go on, do it.
The interview summed up entirely.
Yeah, just actually,
his face at the end, and honestly, I cracked up when I saw this. It's right at the end where he's just like, "Cool, okay, you've just done my job for me." That was the weirdest interview I've ever had. Thanks, Brooke.
Right?
Just that face, man.
Fuck, that's funny.
It's just funny.
At least we do have a quick little good news story, though, that we can quickly run through.
Go on.
Well, we've got two notices. The hikoi to house our rangatahi that I talked about last week. Kickback and Aaron. I'll just quickly share it so you can see the Facebook event. But yes, so hikoi to house our rangatahi is this weekend. They will be meeting outside of Kickback Rangatahi Hub, which is 307K Road. They will march down Queen Street and towards the lighthouse. Why can't I see Facebook? Why are you being like this? Oh, there we go. But yeah, and then they'll go down Queen Street towards the lighthouse onto Queen's Wharf, where there'll be kite and speeches. So it'll be great for anyone who's able to go tomorrow at 12 p.m. That would be awesome to see you guys heading over there. I also know that Kickback are currently looking for, they're currently hiring. They have a job going. So if anyone needs a job and is in Tamaki and might actually be able to help, go check out the Kickback Facebook websites, Instagrams. They're all around everywhere. So yeah, just shout out to Aaron and the crew. And in quick little BHN news, on the 23rd of June, around 4:30 p.m. at Jack Hackett's Irish Bar and Pub, we will be meeting because Raijin is actually coming to Wellington. So if people want to come and hang out, we're going to be at Jack Hackett's. It's got food, it's got drink, it's got decent space to sit in. So we'll be meeting around 4:30, 5 p.m.-ish. And honestly, finish soft 7, but like we're adults. We can decide when we want to go home. Or we might want to, like, I don't know, go watch the show. Which is often what we do when we leave BHN meetups, I'm not going to lie. We just leave and go, see you in the chat. But we have one bit of good news that I found today, just by accident, actually. Which we love an accidental story find. So I'll give you guys a little bit of a peek back behind the curtains, right? When I want to find positive news, I tend to go to RNZ and then I just click the Te Ao Māori tab because that's usually the only place I ever find something good.
That's very true, actually. I can attest
so
this.
that's what I did today, and I found this.
Sorry.
Oh, no, you're right.
I was trying to star it, and then the chat moves, and I was like, no, I don't want to put that on the screen.
We'll just chuck it on now anyway.
Oh, okay. Yes. No, I was just saying there's an RSP submission workshop with Duncan Webb tomorrow in Christchurch, 1:15 at CWEA. I don't know where. That's in Gloucester Street somewhere.
Nice. No, yeah, love that. Yeah. Thank you for the information. But yes,
but carry on.
I found this, which is called Soften Up Bro, an initiative that supports Tāne Māori to feel safe in expressing vulnerability. And I see here, it's Hemi Kapa Kingi.
Hey.
Of course, it's going to be one of Maria Menor's kids. I was just like, of course, this family can just not stop getting cooler. I swear to God.
I hope this doesn't sound offensive, but she breeds some good ones.
Oh, fuck. We need to start bottling whatever she's doing.
Yeah, we just need to keep her bloodline going, please. Mm-hmm. We need more of that.
So Soften Up Bro was founded by Hemi Kapa Kingi around 5 years ago when him and a close friend found themselves going through difficult times. Based on the interaction and experience, they decided to look at how we could generalize that experience for all Tāne Māori across Aotearoa, who often find it difficult to talk about our emotions, about personal issues and struggles with others. And then here they're talking about the fact that like obviously the Soften Up Bro is a taking from the harden up that obviously I would say all men in this country probably grow up hearing. And then he talked about, how that often leads to difficulty with expressing emotion, difficulty with vulnerability, difficulty opening up, or even articulating things that they're going through. And so because obviously Tāne Māori have a high rate of suicide, there was another, motivator for them to kind of build this kaupapa. They've got... where is it? So, yes, so this was actually a really interesting point. He brought up the fact that if it wasn't like that, basically a lot of these mentalities have been adopted through colonialism because obviously that suppression of emotion wasn't something that was entrenched in Māori culture before colonization. And he points out is that we can see that through tangihanga as an example when Māori men are kind of essentially, able to use the full spectrum of their feelings. And so, he says it's tangihanga as an example. We can grieve openly and we can really let a lot of stuff out. The opposite would be no grief process or a short window to grieve and then be left with all these unmet and unrequited feelings that were never able to be expressed. And yeah, it's awesome. They've been working with a bunch of Māori men across the country for a few years now. I actually have a little video that we could watch from their page.
I'm just gonna put this up. When do we get the Kapa Kingi dynasty?
Real, honestly, they're such
keeping up with the Kapa Kingis.
Oh my god, yes. That I need that in
honestly, I'd watch that. I'd watch it every day.
Just Johnny and I. So I just moved to Auckland from Whangarei, caught up with John, and we're just having a catch up, and some personal issues came up, stuff that he was going through, stuff that I was going through, and we spoke about it quite naturally, and we found some solutions, and we also found that whole process was really useful. And so I thought, oh damn, how do we make this more applicable or more generalized to brothers? And so we took the concept of harden up, bro, which is what we get told growing up. Harden up, be a man, don't cry, all those.
I just realized there's music in the background. It's probably going to get us things. So I'm going to have to pause this. We do have one that is without. Yeah, I just realized that's going to play too much. I don't want us to get in trouble. But we do have another video, actually, because they did. They have a YouTube. So if you want to go and find them on YouTube, just type in "soften up, bro," and it'll come up, because they had a few episodes where they produced basically different cordial between some different homies, and just some of the topics that they bring up, and like just them getting to be vulnerable in their space and their time in the way that is most natural for them. And I'll just unmute. Oh, do I have it on there? Nope, I just realized it doesn't do the instantly up thing, and I kind of got used to that for a second.
Oh.
When I thought about people that checked on me, we didn't actually get to a solution, but it's just what I needed at the time. Just someone to go, if you want to go there, we can. But if not, like I checked up, and so you're so right. Listening is important there.
Something as small as that. I think a lot of us can be a bit afraid to kind of reach out to people because, we don't know if we're going to be able, if we're the right person or if we should. But I think it's, obviously this kaupapa, it doesn't just apply to Māori men. I just think it's a great starting, especially in that kind of being centered more in Te Ao Māori. I think allows for a different set of, I guess, ways of thinking and perspectives that are much better able to kind of support men in trying to actually, learn how to talk to each other and kind of support each other, and learning how to be vulnerable, because also part of the problem can sometimes be women who have kind of internalized a lot of those messages from them. I've heard plenty of stories of men being like, I went and I tried to talk to, my missus or my sister, and they just told me to be a man and harden up. And, so the problem is not just in their side, it's everyone's side. So we got to just basically encourage people to, just being vulnerable is hard, but it is a necessary thing to do, especially if you want to get past some of those demons that you can be fighting at times. And so it's awesome to just see that. Of course it was a kapa kingi. But it's just awesome to see. And I had not heard of this until today when I was just looking stuff up. So I'm really glad I heard about it. And hopefully, if you could, to be honest, I think a good tactic, right? If there is a man in your life that you can think about right now who maybe could use like a little bit of a, reaching out to, forward them that video that I just showed you of Jordan saying, just even saying, oh, we can talk. Sometimes even that indirect way of just being like, just, you'll get the gist from this. And if you want to talk, I'm here. But just make that effort, I reckon, is real important.
There's some really good chatter in the chat. One from Chronic Bucky says, yay, feel good story. I'm 30 and only just addressing my toxic traits after being told that men have to be strong and can't cry because it's weak. So good on you. Yeah. Good on you.
Yeah, I shout out to you for doing that work.
There was also one from earlier, which is Kai Matata saying pole dancing at 30 is something Christian fundamentalists don't want to see.
Fuck yeah, I'm 30. Let's go.
And someone else is like, so politics? And I'm just like, bruh, everything is political when you're a woman, or Well,
also politics, literally the root word comes from polis, people. Like, we like to act like this word politics is separated from ourselves. It is not. It is entrenched with us. So I think that's one thing that's bothering me, and really something I think a lot of us need to focus on realizing is it is not just it's just politics. No, it's people. It is fundamentals and life-changing things that could enable people. Actually, we got one real quick video I'm going to put on the screen. It's only a minute long because I need more feel good in my life.
We all do.
Okie dokie, where am I? Put you there.
Blind. This is the world's first ever adaptive skate park built for the blind
And by the blind.
like this 40-foot long flat bar. There's so much room to set up and ledge to match. This whole side is quarter pipe, so you don't have to worry about falling off the edge. When you can't see, it's hard to go in a straight line sometimes, and this gives you plenty of room so you know you can go left or right. Like even this crack lines you up perfectly with the mani pad. Use this ledge as a guide with your cane when you're on it. One of the hardest things for me is jumping down stuff because the entry will be too skinny, but look at how wide this is. Also, if you have some vision, the features have great contrast so you can see them easily. One of my best friends, Dan Mancino, built this. For the past 7 years, it's been a passion project. It's been so inspiring to watch this come to reality. I never had a place where I could skate with full confidence, not to mention a great environment to learn new stuff from Dan. He's even going to be doing camps and contests here. I just can't believe this is real. Thanks for building this park, Dan. True pioneer.
One love.
And I just like, I love seeing accessibility, like just things that people don't realize. Also, man, so embarrassed that like I could never shred that hard on a skateboard. I tried to skateboard. I do not have the coordination for that. But I just thought that was a really, really awesome thing to see. Man, I would love to see more accessible third spaces, just in general, you know, like I have seen some accessible playgrounds that have been kind of starting to come around a bit, and I just love seeing them because, like, a lot of the time, things that are accessible for disabled people are also just good for non-disabled people.
Very true. Very true.
But yes,
right, we got one last super chat from Mr. Arvid saying, "I'd rather Chippy owe us by being a proper leader." That was in response to you asking him for tickets to Jacinda's movie.
Hey, that's fine. That's fine. He could do both. That'd be great.
He could do both. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Oh, there was just one little thing. Very, 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 very quick. This is what I was talking about from the CTO before. Reimagining Aotearoa together. Aotearoa Reimagined. There's a report that they did about what their vision for the country looks like, and something that Craig was a part of, and one where it says capital gains tax would be a great idea. So if you want to go have a read of that, it's online. Just look up Aotearoa Reimagined, CTU, and you'll find it.
Yes, because you just reminded me. No, because earlier
we're not done.
You called it Aotearoa tonight, and I was today, and I was like,
today. I thought it was Aotearoa something. I thought it was tomorrow, today, and then yes, you've got something that's related.
How do I edit?
Perhaps.
Dude, why did it press play? Oh, why is it not editing?
Oh,
weird.
What if I do edit, and what if I do this? Oh.
Maybe when I press play now. No.
Oh, wait. Something happened. Something happened when you press play.
There we go. It's not much, but I made it as a placeholder until Rogers can make something better. But yes, tomorrow night. I kind of forgot. Tomorrow night, we're gonna be doing our first stream. On our channel Aotearoa tonight, so go subscribe, please. That'd be cool. We're starting at 7 p.m. Probably finish at 9. I'm going to say we'll finish at 9, but I mean, I'm happy to stay later if you are. Not Ems, y'all. So yeah, come hang out with me and Detective Rogers and Campbell, because we're going to go through all of the failures of this government has so far. So we're going to be recapping and also looking at submissions. We're going to go through more submission stuff. So yeah, come hang out with us tomorrow night if you're keen.
Yes, go and subscribe and watch. I will be attempting, if I remember, to watch, but I'll make sure after this I'm going to go subscribe so I can put the notifications on, and then I will be there.
I just got so called out. I mean, I don't think we'll go for that long, but we can do whatever we want. Pat doesn't tell us how long this show runs, guys. We can do whatever we want.
True. We just set an expectation, and then set a what is it?
A minimum 120 hour at least.
Under promise, over deliver. Yeah.
You get a 120 hour minimum. There you go.
Oh, it's been a fun one. Something I did notice up here is that someone on Facebook, thanks Irene for giving us the angry emoji reaction. I'm assuming that's because we talked about Jacinda. So
Probably.
well done, guys. Well done.
It could have been the Gaza thing too. Who knows? Haters all around us.
It's probably the Jacinda stuff. I'm just saying.
Also, if you want to link to the channel, literally, it's okay. I'll link it in the chat. I was gonna say it's Aotearoa Tonight. That's the channel name. And I'll see if I can find it for y'all. Oh, we're also on Blue Sky. So Blue Sky, Aotearoa Tonight. I shared our little announcement post on Blue Sky. So if you haven't seen that, yeah, we're still sorting it all out. We're going to be having fun, playing around. It's definitely going to be a bit of a test one because let's just say I think I've figured out how to use OBS, but who knows? Maybe I won't actually know what I'm doing and maybe I'll embarrass myself. But you won't know unless you come and watch us. So like,
hey, we all start somewhere, right?
Right, exactly. I also don't have all the fancy like things I'm used to having with BHN, so we're really
It's true.
starting from the bottom, and
Now you're there. You're
Exactly.
not here. You're there in the future. I don't know.
oh yeah, yes. Sorry, I just found the oh, why is it doing this? I hate when your computer does weird shit.
What is going on?
I will send you guys this is the link to basically the live stream tomorrow, and catch us on Blue Sky otherwise. There you go, Rajan. I did the thing you wanted.
All right, we are about
We
to
out.
head into the credits. However, the usual layout is gone.
Oh no!
I have
Oh,
this,
no!
which is way too big. That's, again, way too big. I've got full screen, but our usual is gone. I got weird half and half. You don't need to see. Oh, God, no, go away. No, I don't want to see my face that big. Someone got rid of the... With StreamYard got rid of the bit. Hang on. Oh, I can make my own.
Oh.
I don't know what's going on, but I'm going to make my own. Hang on. Hang on, put one of these there. And we put one of these there. Oh, it even aligns for us. Okay, what if I make us a little bit smaller? Ooh. And then we go... Save. Outro. Look at this. Look at save new layout. Ready?
Apparently, Rajan's making us try to sub 100 subs by the end of the show. There you go. That'll give you time. There we go. You did
I
it.
remade it. Wait, did I remake it?
I think so. Is the video
No,
on?
I'm missing a bit.
Oh no, man! And I'm supposed to have technical difficulties tomorrow, guys. I can't even leave yet.
What happened to the layouts? Just. Oh wait, hang on.
no.
Add a media slot. The entire screen. Okay. Wait for it, guys. Wait for it.
Millennials learn how to use computers.
Save. Update the layout. Okay, we're good. No, we're not. It's.
Oh no! Oh no!
How do I do? It's bring to forward.
How do I do
bring
this thing
forward.
that I've done every week for like months?
It just it disappeared though. The usual layout just like straight up disappeared. Okay. All right, this time.
We got it. I can see it now.
Okay, and then if I turn the music on, and then we do this.
Hey.
Help us settle a debate, whether it be thoughtful or funny, even if we're all creatures of hate. It's a fine line that we're walking together. For better, push aside the temptation to berate. Let's take a note of the corners we stand in. As many points as the hairs on my chinny chin chin. When the news that we're watching is hairy, knowing all the things that we need to be wary of. Like the rich have
found the layout. It had just been moved off the screens for some reason, so I put it back, and now we're sorted. We're sorted, guys. I did it. Well, thanks for joining us. I hope you enjoyed the show tonight, guys, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and you join the boys back here on Monday at 9 p.m. Magenta, anything to say before we go?
Well, you can join the other boys, aka me, Rogers, and Campbell, tomorrow night on Aotearoa Tonight. But yes, also come back on Monday, because we just need more news. We need to hang out more, guys, so come see us.
Absolutely. Have a safe, wonderful weekend, and we will see you next Friday at 9 p.m. for some more bright, hairy news. Johnny.
Okay.
Oi.